much.
Pete's making a guest appearance now.
This is Pete. This is the Pete. There he is.
Yes.
Yes.
My price range.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, this is me old.
I learned something the other day that I didn't know. That the little star apparently covers a hole where you had a
fuzz box.
Yes.
I had a Vox fuzz tone or whatever it was called, which came in a little red box like this, a little sort of oblong box. And I took the guts of it out and put them in there and put the switch there. It was a red switch, so I could on and off
Wow.
play Purple Haze with fuzz. And I had it for a long time, and then it gradually fell into disuse. It fell into disuse because really the AC30s can do that anyway.
Yes.
And they do it better. So it was a very sort of square wave kind of fuzz tone. It worked for certain things. But I noticed, listening to the Jimi Hendrix records, when he's actually using a fuzz box, it isn't so nice as when he's actually using the sort of the overdriven amps. So eventually it came out. I think we still have it somewhere. But Greg Fry made this nice little star, which was my sort of trademark at the time.
And just running through, I know we've spoken about the guitar before to people, but it's still an incredible story because you and your father designed it, didn't you? What was the guitar? What were the influences behind it? Because I've seen some of the drawings and stuff you've shown me before.
Well, the biggest influence was not being able to afford a guitar. You know, we really couldn't afford to buy one, not a Fender or a Gibson. That was way out of our price range, and we couldn't even afford the cheaper copies like the Selmer, Colorama's and things like some of my mates had. We couldn't afford those either. So me and my dad thought, we can do this, we can make a guitar, and we can make it better than anyone else. So, you know, my dad was a great craftsman and a great engineer, and we did it together. The idea was to make something, I think in my head I wanted something between the Fender and the Gibson sound, although I'd never played either. You know, but in my head I wanted something which was versatile and could give me a lot of nice glitter, but could also be thick and throaty, because I already had this sort of idea of what my sort of voice ought to be on the guitar.
Oh, that's interesting. So you knew the kind of sounds that you wanted to create.
I had some kind of clue, but this is very early days. You know, I was listening to James Burton, and there wasn't much to listen to in those days. You know, there wasn't much variety of people, up to the point where the Shadows came along. And the Shadows became, I mean, Hank Marvin certainly defined a lot for players of my generation, that amazing sound. So we all wanted that sound. So I think I would hope that my guitar would have made that kind of sound. Doesn't really, but it's something different. But yeah, no, it's also interesting. At the time I was making it, there was already players around like Jeff Beck, who was playing a Les Paul. Now the Les Paul, as well as the Fender, was designed not to feed back.
Yes.
And I've told this story many times. You know, that's what it was all about. You go back to Django Reinhardt, and people used to have an acoustic guitar and a microphone, or else they'd put some kind of sort of pickup microphone on it. Now in each case you were very limited, because if you turned it up too much it would go because it's feeding back. So the solid guitar was invented so that it wouldn't feed back. That was the whole idea. That's why we have solid ideas, is it's not going to feed back, therefore you can use it in performance. But by the time people like Jeff Beck are using them, they're using it to feed back. They're pushing the loop up so far, you know, the gain in the loop is so incredibly huge that the guitar is actually able to sustain itself through the air. And Jimi Hendrix took it further, because with Jimi Hendrix the guitar would explode. It would actually, you know, you're not looking at 100% feedback, you're looking at 150%, so the guitar would sort of talk for itself. So I had that in mind building this. I thought, I want my guitar to feed back in the right way. I don't want it to whistle through the pickups, that's a pain in the neck. I want it to feed back through the sound of the body and feed back in the right way. So I was guessing, but what I did was put in a couple of acoustic pockets. There's one here, and this part where the electronics is also kind of an acoustic pocket anyway. But the whole thing is very live, and I was hoping that with the bridge firmly anchored here, and the tremolo being part of the body as well, that it would communicate with the air well enough to feed back. Now, I don't know if I was lucky or my theory was good, but it worked. Because this thing does sustain incredibly. It sustains beautifully. And to stop the whistling, I had to take the pickups apart and fill them up with Araldite and stuff, but that wasn't too difficult.
Didn't you make your own pickups first
I
of all?
made the first pickups, yeah. I wound the first pickups. And they sounded really good. I've got some recordings that I made with those pickups. They were just Eclipse magnets with a load of coil around.
Yeah.
I made the coil. Well, actually, my dad made the coil winder.
Because I've seen pictures and they look similar to the Trisonic. They've got 3 holes,
That's right.
haven't they? Yeah.
Yeah. But of course, there were 3 Eclipse magnets here,
Oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
they go north, south, north, north, south, north, south. And for some reason, and I don't really know the theory of this to this day, it was fine until you did any string bending, and then the string bending would push you from a north pole to a south pole, and it would make this strange kind of noise. So it just didn't work for bending.
Yeah.
Now what I was going to do was cut the Eclipse magnets in half with some kind of grinder, so they were all norths instead of north
Yeah.
and south, but I didn't have the equipment. I
Yeah.
never got around to it. So instead I went down to a shop which had newly opened in the newly built Centre Point building in Tottenham Court Road, very close to where We Will Rock You
Yeah.
later was founded. And it was a Burns shop. I walked into Burns and said, "Have you got any pickups?" And they said, "Well, we've only got one kind of pickup. It's 3 guineas, and here it is, little box, tissue paper," and there it was. It was one of these. I said, "Okay, I'll have 3," which is a bit of an investment for me. £9 was
Yeah.
quite a lot in those days. So I took them home, took my pickups off and put them on, wired them in, and it worked.
Yeah.
It was great. They did whistle.
Mm.
They did have that sort of microphone.
And you sealed them or dipped them, didn't you?
Yeah, I just put some
Yeah.
Araldite and stuff in.
And what about the switching? You came up with that. No one had done that at the time, had they?
No, it was different. Now that's interesting because that's when you're making choices, and I had no idea what was going to happen.
Mm.
It was all, to me, it was very exciting at the time. I had the 3 pickups in an unfinished guitar, so it's got no finish on it. You know,
Yeah.
it hasn't even got a scratch plate. I've just got pickups here, and the wires are flapping about, and I'm
Yeah.
fixing them up to a coax cable which goes to my dad's amplifier. My dad's amplifier is for the TV and the radio and whatever. So I'm wired into my dad's amplifier, and I started off like individual pickups, and I noticed that this pickup sounds quite mellow.
Yeah.
And of course I have no idea in the beginning. I think, well, why would that be? And I try this one, and it's very sharp. It's got quite a harsh sound.
Mm.
So I wire them up with a series of switches so I can interchange them in A, B.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I wire them up also so that you can have these 2, or you can have these 2 together, or those 2 together. Now you've got a choice there. You can be series or parallel. So I tried it all sorts of ways. And I realised that you can get an enormous range of sounds out of these pickups. You start off with a bit of a range anyway, because this is mellow and that's sharp. But what you can do by adding and subtracting them is massive. Now there is the theory behind it isn't too hard. You know, you get a mellow sound here because you're getting lots of lower harmonics here of the string vibration. Up here you're getting a lot of high harmonics that go like this along the string. So that's your high pitch stuff. That's what gives you your harshness. So when you put this one and this one in series, let's say, what's happening is you can have them either in phase or out phase. If they're in phase, am I boring you?
No, I think this is. I love hearing it. It's brilliant.
People know this these days, but I had no idea in those days. There's no books you could read on this. So I realised that if you put them in series, they would add, and you get a nice kind of sweet sound. You get the mellowness of this one, you get the top end of this, and it gives you a nice kind of sweet sound. It's a bit like a lot of the old blues players used to get from their 335s.
Yeah.
So I thought, I like that sound. But if you turn the wires around on this one, utterly changes.
Yeah.
And suddenly the 2 pickups are subtracting, and this one is taking away all the low end of this, such as it is, and all you're left with is the high harmonics. So it's really harsh, really crunchy, and that's the sound that I used on things like Stone Cold Crazy or whatever.
Yeah.
So you also have the choice whether you put them in series or in parallel. You can have them either way. Now it's a little bit, in series it's very obvious, they just add and subtract. In parallel it's a little more complex, and I don't even need to go into that. What I thought was the parallel stuff gives me one effect which sounds a bit Hendrixy.
Yeah.
But the series stuff gives me meat. It
Yeah.
gives me real depth and the greatest range. So I thought I'll do these in parallel. I'll do these in series, and then maybe one day I'll put some extra circuitry in so I can use them in parallel as well, which I never did.
It is such a huge sounding instrument. When you've got these two pickups here together, it's like a humbucker.
Yeah, it is. Effectively, it is. So nobody had ever. Of course, the next step is how do you make this practical? How do you make? You can't sort of rewire them when you're on stage playing.
Yeah.
So I designed this system so that these 3 switches switch them on and off. These 3 switches are the phase reversal. So very quickly you can flip them. You can put these 2 in series.
Yeah.
And then you can flip one of them to get the. I can show you what it sounds like.
Can we? Yeah. Shall we?
Shall we do that?
Yeah.
This is the voice of this pickup. It sounds like this. Very mellow,
Yeah.
you know, and thick and throaty. This is the voice of this pickup. I'm trying to play the same, but you get influenced, don't you? But it's got a lot more. It's got like
Yeah.
and you're hearing sort of top end. So going back to the mellow one.
Yeah.
Very different. So already you've got quite a nice range, and you can just switch them on and off. Now the 2 together sound like this. Now in phase they sound like this. Now, I would describe that as sweet.
Yeah.
Very saccharine-y. And I don't use it that much. For certain things it's nice, but you just turn the phase around of one of them, so now you're going to hear this one against this one, and it's suddenly.
Yeah.
It's the difference between and it doesn't sound that much. Well, try this. Sweet.
Yeah.
So quite different. And you can put 3 in at once as well, of course. So 3 of them together sound very quite woolly. Very woolly. Now, if you put any one of those out the phase with the other 2, you get different effects.